Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Anna S. Choi, who's a business energy coach, a TEDx speaker, and a Forbes author. Anna, welcome to the program.
Yay, happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you because, I love, just as a side note, I'm an avid, voracious reader, and I love reading books, and I love reading the older books, the Think and Grow Rich, and so Frank Bettger is an old author that I've read from, and I know some of the earlier personal development teachers teach so much about enthusiasm, and if you can have enthusiasm in your personal and professional life, it just carries so much weight in any kind of success. So I'm excited to hear what a business energy coach is, and then and get to know you. So give us a little bit of your background.
Excellent. Yes. So I got started. Initially, I was a broke art major with no connections or experience, and then my first business was in financial planning. So by 25, I had gross six figures and was doing well, but totally burned out, which really was the impetus to then start to look at how do you grow without burnout.
Yeah.
And I ended up selling that practice to another advisor and started my own family. And so I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple years, pursuing what really made me happy. But the short version is we were on food stamps, and we got ourselves into like over $67,000 in debt. My husband was working as a landscaper, not making hardly anything. And I was, I always tell people I wasn't working at all, but I actually had to, by necessity, bring in like an extra $500, $1,000 just to make ends meet. As I was doing some coaching on the side and like tutor, like just random odd jobs for this first couple years as a stay-at-home mom. And then I had it. After a couple years, I was like, all right, I'm ready to go back. So I quit. I'm ready to go back full-time. My husband quit his job full-time because we wanted at least one parent at home until the kiddo went to, kindergarten. So at that point, I started my second business in events consulting and marketing for social impact. And eventually landed a good gig in the tech industry. I'm in the Seattle area, so, $7,000-8,000 a month and plus all my other side clients, and was doing pretty well. But again, I was working like 35 hours a week, so I thought I, had done it again, but was, again, still burned out because we were doing like the equivalent of like 4 weddings at the same time, nonstop, if you can kind of imagine what that would be like.
I can't. Not at all.
Yucky. So then I pivoted from marketing consulting and business coaching into just strictly business coaching about 3 years ago. And when I made that move to really energetically align myself, we're now debt-free. We maxed out retirement. I grossed 6 figures last year with, taking 9 weeks off for vacation. So,
wow.
Ironically, even though that I always like paint the success, but then, oops, right around the corner, now the problem is with success also comes burnout.
Yeah.
As anybody would know, going from level to level. So that's mostly what I'm helping a lot of my clients. They're making $200,000 a year just for their own salary, but like they're getting like 2 hours of sleep, some of them. So how do you, have growth without the cost? How do you have it all? How do you actually manage your energy so that it can, you can grow and flow?
Well, it kind of makes me think of like managing your energy. Like I'm not a long distance runner. I do jog/run consistently, but I could never imagine running 10, 15, 20 miles. But it kind of makes me think about if you started sprinting for a marathon, at some point you're going to burn out and you're going to have to stop. And that's way worse than if you had just started and continued on a consistent, manageable level. And I would suspect that those are the kind of foundations that you're talking about working with entrepreneurs on, is managing that energy for maximum performance.
Totally. And one person put it, it's not even a sprint, it's a marathon sprint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm like, well, how's that sustainable, right? It's just we kind of live in this hustle and grind, sometimes glorified world of, I call it yang energy versus yin, and it's just a lot of go, go, grow, how much can you become like a machine? It's all about productivity, and that just doesn't cut it, like, in the 21st century when you've got, like, 90% of the world's data that was generated in the last, like, 2 years alone, right? I mean, now it's even more than that. For all humanity, right? So that's a lot we're having to sift through, a lot of chaos, a lot of noise, way more than our brains ever had to handle. And yet we still expect ourselves to kind of go on this linear path of productivity. And that's just, productivity is out. Like, that efficiency is out these days. It's more about sustainable growth.
Well, isn't it interesting, years ago, and I don't know how many years I'm thinking, but at some point years ago, there were all of these, like, time-saving tools, and if you do this, you're going to reclaim 2 hours out of your day because you can, do this faster and you can become more efficient. Well, what happened is people started doing that and it actually worked, but then they crammed more stuff into that time savings, right? So then why bother?
That's all. Yeah. No, it just puts you more in a trap. The rat race gets stronger.
And then let's juxtaposition this concept. How many times have we all been out on a walk, a hike, bike ride, vacation, whatever, just something off doing something different, and you have this wonderful, business idea, some solution to a problem you deal with, or a great idea. And you know why that is because you got out of the element of grind, and you got to where your mind is actually trying to think and recover and be creative.
Totally. It's either, it's that, right? But then it's kind of, and on the flip side, I also hear a lot, people can't shut their brains off or minds off while they're working. And we've come to associate that as like inspiration.
Yeah.
But everything's so savvy enough, all the apps, all the advertising, everything, that it's constantly hitting that dopamine, right? Boom, boom, yeah. So we're kind of addicted.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to face what's healthy, which is nothing, being alone, silence, and feeling then all the thoughts and emotions that you've been suppressing that you haven't had time to deal with actually come to face, right? So most of us will then turn away again, go into the work where it's comfortable, as opposed to like sitting there and going through and listening with it. Anyway, so that's just something I see a lot happen.
It's interesting where you can kind of take a contrarian view and approach at things. It's like, oh, everybody these days is talking about this, but have you considered, this side, the ugly side of this? And see, I think that is, in my impression, what you're doing with entrepreneurs and people is similar to when we go on an airplane flight and the person says, hey, if there's ever an emergency, make sure you get your oxygen mask on before you help the kid next to you. And people go, wait a minute, I'm going to help my kid. You need to make sure you're taken care of so that you're able to help your child. So you think of the old Jim Rohns and of the world that talk about personal development, and you can never, invest in yourself enough, because when you invest in yourself, that then helps you expand personally, professionally. So I would venture to say that if you can help people cut the chaos and gain clarity and get your energy managed, the byproducts will be some really, really vibrant creativity and effectiveness, right?
Absolutely. I always I'm like, dude, if you're going to be like haggard and depleted energetically, but be killing it, like people can smell that. And then that's what you just attract less quality folks potentially. Yeah. So it's just absolutely critical to align yourself, put the oxygen mask first on. I think we all know that. It's another thing to live it. So the trick is with each unique person, what's the best way, right? So really.
Yeah, because it cannot be a cookie cutter. Buy this thing, and now everyone in the whole world can do this exactly the same way, because everyone's different.
Right? Like, have you tried, there's habits we all want to build, and then we don't, or we know we should. So just different things work for different people. So it's just finding that magic mix.
So where do you start when you work with a client and they say, something just resonates with what you're saying, I think I know that I need this, but where do you start?
Very good. So we actually do an energy audit or assessment on them, and there's an energy state quiz. I'm happy to share that link as well with people. It's super simple, and yet hopefully it kind of get an awakening or an aha from it. But anyway, so it's just measuring what your energy state is. And if you kind of think of, anyway, so I'll kind of go to the tactical side and then go to the concept or the high level side. So after they do the energy audit, then people, reflect and see what they learn about themselves. And if they want to go deeper, then we have, a cut the chaos consult or something like that, to really get into their specific situation around where they're having struggle around energy drains or whatnot.
Yeah, that's huge.
From a concept, from more of a concept or principle standpoint, there's primarily 3 energy centers that we have that gathers energy, and this is more Eastern Chinese medicine philosophy. But you have, your core, which is your gut. That, if you're a Navy SEAL, right, you have to learn how to breathe deeply from your belly or abdomen. Any athlete will know this. So that's your physical power center, and then you have your heart power center, and then you have your brain power center. Each one has a different function, and you want those firing as brightly as possible. And when they are, then you're able to make more effective decisions that are aligned with your highest self. You're able to be a higher performer without burning out. And most people in those 3 energy centers that lack the physical power center, in your gut or core, people, well, it depends, right? I see the folks who are like super working out super hard, meaning at the gym. So you know how you can work out and be not present, like you're still, maybe you're watching something or listening to something and you're getting stronger. So that's totally useful and awesome. And what would it be like if one was conscious while they were exercising and being present? So there's a whole different level of experience possible. But when you're able to integrate and be present and, take your outside distractions into your body instead of stay distracted while you're exercising, if this makes sense, if you can integrate it, that's the first step. Back to your original question around, what do you do with them? So we have to strengthen that. Yeah. And that first, that power center, SEED is a simple acronym to kind of look at it, but it's like how's your sleep, your emotions, your exercise, and your diet. And for most people, that's where we have to start. Are you getting your sleep? Yeah, boy,
that's a mouthful, though, because I can put a checkbox next to all of them and go, I need help in all of that.
Yeah, and most people are, not doing, maybe doing well on 1 out of the 4, and so we try to get them first like a 2 or 3 out of 4 going well enough, and then we can kind of move into the heart center, but we can't quite go there yet until the anchor. Do you ever
find that if you do that assessment and you see all these opportunities or issues, right, and you really want to hold back and not really have the person see everything at once because they could feel just so overwhelmed, but when you start with the first one and go, okay, we're going to start right here, and if we could do these things, now we're going to get that momentum, and they actually find themselves being super motivated because they checked one off, but now let's, get excited about going to the next one and the next one. But if they feel like they've got a whole mountain to traverse, now they're just going to shut down.
Yeah, totally. We have to take it bite-sized, just like someone who's never worked on a gym trying to run a marathon, right? We do not put them on a 20-mile course. You start off, okay, let's just do 10-minute runs, 20-minute runs. So same thing here. Sleep is usually the number one thing we've got to work on. What's your morning ritual? What's your bedtime ritual? Let's see if we can get you a little bit more consistent sleep, because that's your best meditation time, but it's also your best time to, without effort, right, be more effective in your day, grounded in your day.
And that's something that people can feel like, okay, tell me some steps I can do, and I can follow these things. And I think that when people are told, do this, they can do it. But if you tell them, let's talk about some, abstract kind of concepts, and if you can envision and feel, I think that gets people started off the wrong direction. You got to get them kind of like crawling before they start running, and maybe the crawling is do this little thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Knowing all this won't make a difference. It's the action. So there's a few like key energy management practices that anyone, listening to this call or anyone can do. One of the, that foundation I was talking about, right, with the sleep and the exercise and and so forth. Exercise, right? Moving your body. So most of us are just sitting around all day in a car, on a desktop, hunched over, right? And just even 1 minute of getting up, moving around, like each time you go to the bathroom, right? There's a built-in habit right there.
Yeah.
So every time you go to the bathroom, just pick a 1 minute of movement. It could be push-ups, it could be sit-ups, it could be calf raises. You know, when you're sitting in the checkout line or in a car, one of my favorite ones is intestine exercise. We can do it right now. We can practice. So if you like put, you know, well, if you're driving, don't do this.
Yeah, really.
But you put both thumbs on your belly button and you just suck it in. You suck your belly button into your spine. So it's kind of like a crunch sitting up or standing. And if you keep doing that, our gut is our second brain. And it's called that because if you were to cut off your central nervous system of your brain and spinal cord, your gut is going to keep working or just keep functioning, which is crazy to think about. And it has like 3 to 5 times more neurons in your gut, and it produces over 90% of serotonin, which is often dubbed the happiness hormone, is all produced in your gut versus just like 3% of serotonin is produced in your brain. So this is a very special organ that we don't think about exercising. But if you're sitting in your car or just sitting around anywhere, you can simply suck it in. And just even a few pumps will make a big difference. And it just brings your awareness from outside yourself, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, to inside.
And also, if you are taking a deep breath in order to do that, doesn't that increase oxygenation help as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Breathing. That's where we can start, Mike.
Kind of crazy, huh?
Hey,
those are a
how
couple.
to breathe.
this is some high tech stuff.
We're done.
Breathe.
Just
but
breathe.
Here's another thing.
Learn how to breathe.
I'm one that I like to go, okay, how can I do things even more efficiently? So like you mentioned, you know, when you get up and you go to the restroom, well, how can you make sure that's intentional, and how can you facilitate that? Well, one thing is, why don't you make yourself do that by increasing your water intake so that you are doing that consistently? Well, what is the byproduct of that? Water is really good. And same as what I mentioned about the gut, the deep breath. Well, the gut, for all the reasons you mentioned, but then also the oxygenation. So you're getting double benefits. You're getting more water, and your body needs that, and you're getting up and about, which then reminds you to do some of these other little things. So I love when you can kind of bundle things together like that.
Brilliant. That's like a threefer.
That's right. If we had a microphone, we ought to drop it right now. Well, hey, that's really awesome, man. I think we could probably talk for another 9.5 more hours, but let's kind of wrap it up by saying if someone was interested in getting that assessment and seeing where they stand, what's the best way that they can reach out and connect with you?
Yes. So the best way is I'm happy to put that energy quiz. You know, it's free to take, and you can just do a quick assessment on yourself. And then from there, there's our website, www.annasunchoi, ANNA, S as in Sam, U, N as in Nancy, CHOI.com. And then from there, we can, if you want to look deeper, we do a cut the chaos consult. You can, for just the listeners on this call, I'll offer that complimentary. Normally it's $250. But yeah, we spend a half an hour. It's a give back, free coaching on where your energy leaks are. Where are you now? Where do you want to be energetically in your business? And then what are the next best steps to get there? And so
thank you. That is really awesome. Perfect. Good. Well, it was really great connecting with you and learning about your business, and I appreciate you coming on today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.